What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining. I'm very excited to finally do a video I've been waiting to do for a while. It's the first time I'm doing something like this on my channel. It's the first of many, and that is a movie discussion on Halloween, the franchise as a whole. Halloween Ends. There will be spoiler talk, so if you did not see the movie, please turn this video off until you see the movie, unless you really don't give a shit and you don't mind hearing spoilers, because I'm gonna spoil the whole movie for you. Um, Halloween has definitely been a movie that had a huge impact on my life growing up. I used to be terrified of it. Um, and then it turned into my favorite slasher franchise of all time. I love the character of Michael Myers. I love Laurie Strode. I love all the versions of Halloween, including the Rob Zombie versions. I think they all have a certain place and a certain fan base, and I appreciate that a lot. I don't like seeing movies that are just the same thing over and over and over. So that being said, I want to jump into my thoughts on Halloween Ends, which I was very anxiously waiting for. I've seen the movie twice already, and I want to share my thoughts and my feelings on that movie, and then my thoughts and my feelings as the new trilogy has become unfolded, and whether or not there's closure for that arc and what we can or may be looking forward to. So let's see what. Okay, so Halloween Ends. It opens up with a dope scene of this character, Corey Cunningham, who is babysitting a little kid for the night. He's not his typical babysitter trying to make a couple of bucks. So it opens up, big house. Parents are kind of in a rush, excited to get to where they're going. You introduce the kid. He seems kind of cool, but they tell Corey he's a little shaken up by the whole Michael Myers stuff and has been acting strange, saying he's hearing voices and all that. So cuts to them hanging out, watching John Carpenter's The Thing. The little kid's kind of a dick. I mean, he Corey seems to be someone who's very intelligent, very lighthearted, and just an overall good person. Just trying to make a couple of bucks, have a good time, babysit the kid, and go home. But the kid's kind of an asshole. He's kind of like picking on Corey for being a guy. He wanted a girl babysitter, and Corey gets upset, goes to get a snack, says you got 5 minutes and you're going to sleep. So in that scene, you got him, cut to, here's a noise, knife's gone from the table. So automatically you're going to think, oh, Michael's coming, something's going to happen to this kid. So long story short, the kid locks Corey in the attic. It was all a prank. And as the parents are coming home, Corey slams the door open. Kid falls over the balcony, falls to his death, breaks his neck in the most brutal kid killing scene I've ever seen in a Halloween movie, let alone any movie. As a father, like that kind of was like a shot to my stomach. I mean, great scene. Like I'm not squeamish at all. Like I love horror kills and horror movies, but like that one was pretty intense. And of course, everyone's blaming Corey for the death, and his parents are yelling at him and hating him. Um, Fast forward, it's I think 3 years later, because the babysitting was also a year after Halloween Kills in 2018. So Michael hasn't been seen. So fast forward to a couple of years later, you got Laurie writing her memoirs, talking about how evil changes shape, which is very important. I feel like some people lost that aspect of it, but she talks about how evil never dies and it always changes shape. Showing Corey kind of go through how he's living life now, which he's being bullied a lot. People are looking at him as a monster. They're talking about Michael Myers. Where is he? What's going to happen on Halloween? Is he going to come back on the radio? And that plays a big role in it also. But we see Corey going on with his everyday life, and it's kind of like he looks really depressed, really out of it. And, what can you expect from someone who's accused of murdering a little kid and you didn't do it? And then you're in a town that is so used to dealing with a psychopathic murderer that they're just blaming you for everything that's going on when really they're mad at Michael. And they're mad at Michael. They don't know where he's at. There's these killings and stuff happening, and people are losing their mind. And it just goes to show like how certain things can really affect an environment and how an environment plays a role in people's well-being. I'll go deeper into that as we go on and see the development in Corey. So we cut to Corey going to the store. You got these bullies come up, want him to buy him beer. He says no. They give him a hard time. And Lori comes and kind of like jumps in between them and convinces him to slash the bully's tires, which kind of opens up the relationship with her and Corey. And I thought that was cool. I did like that Lori is kind of like over the whole Michael thing, or trying to be over the Michael thing, but still you can tell she still has that like animosity in her. So yeah, at this point, like, I'm really liking the movie. Like I said, I'm a fan of the Rob Zombie films, which a lot of people hate, and the reason why I'm a fan of that is because they did things so differently. So I like that wildness to it. So now we got Lori bringing Corey to the hospital where Allison works, and kind of like tries to introduce him. Allison's a little all over the place. You see the scene with her ex-boyfriend, the cops, kind of bugged out a little bit, like kind of a stalkerish ex-boyfriend, won't let it go type thing. Um, so we get the scene with Corey coming to the hospital, getting healed up. The doctor's kind of like talking down on Allison, and Corey doesn't like that. But anyway, it's a cool scene to see the interaction between the two of them. You can automatically see that Allison's digging him and where that's gonna go. And at this point, you can see that Corey's already kind of going down a more angry path with things. Like he's like, you shouldn't talk to him that way. You shouldn't let him talk to you that way, because it's gonna make you sad whether you like it or not. And I think that is a big thing that in the world today that people don't understand. Like, a lot of people will kind of just take a beating and take abuse because they don't want to say anything, or they want to act like it doesn't bother them, but deep down it's still going to bother you, and that's going to build up and build up and build up and build up until it gets to the point that you either give up or you snap. And I feel like that's where they were trying to show where Corey was getting, and that battle in between him, like inside of him. um Cut to a little bit. Allison and Corey go on a date. It's Halloween. Um, so we get this scene in a bar where they're hanging out, having a good time, drinking. Corey's finally having a good time. He doesn't go out much, and he walks away and runs into the mother of the kid that died, which she completely loses her shit, understandably, as a parent. Completely loses the shit on the fact that Corey's there having fun and her son's dead. So she kind of like approaches him, goes off on him. We have the scene with Corey and Allison are kind of arguing about, I'm not your project, you can't fix me, you're a survivor, and I'm a psycho. And he runs off, runs into the bullies. They have a whole scene which is amazing, because the bully is really a realistic bully, and he's an asshole. I mean, they show him kind of how his relationship is with his dad. His dad's a little bit of a prick to him, so you can kind of see where he's just projecting his own feelings onto other people. He does it really well, and Corey decides to stand up for himself, and it ends up, bully throws Corey over the bridge, and they think he's dead. They drive off. Corey gets dragged into the sewers. So obviously at this point we already know who dragged him. So Michael brought him into the sewers. Okay, so Corey wakes up in the sewer. Michael didn't kill him. And this is where things really start to like pick up and go where a lot of fans are divided. So Corey wakes up, he hears a noise, walks around in the sewers. Michael comes out of the crack in the wall and grabs him, starts choking him. And you get this really cool scene that like Corey's staring into Michael's eyes, and you see all the flashes of everything that happened. And a lot of people are confused on what was going on here. And again, I didn't write the movie, but I kind of got the point from the first viewing. I saw the movie twice already. And it's just, like some people are saying the evil was transferring into Corey. I do think that Corey was just seeing Michael for who he was. Like, we never know why Michael's the way he is, but apparently there's got to be a reason why Michael went from being the 6-year-old boy to killing. So I really think it's just he got a glimpse into the devil's eyes, like they like to put it, and he saw what was in him, and Michael saw vice versa, and Michael lets go. Corey runs out, gets the hell out of there, and that's the end of that scene. He runs into this homeless guy out there who we've seen a couple of times in the movie, like in the background singing and shit and going through the garbage. So the homeless guy grabs him and is like, "Oh, Michael's been bringing people into the sewer for years. Why did he let you live? I'm Michael Myers. You need to get me that mask." And he kind of like has Corey's knife that he dropped, and I don't know if it was by accident. It seems like it was by accident. The first initial stab, they have like a little tussle, and then Corey just continues to stab him like 6 more times. So he kills him, and that's his first kill. And if we're gonna go with what they were talking about in Halloween Kills, the more you kill, the more you transcend. You know, if Michael really passed this on to Corey, that was Corey's first kill. So that was Corey's first transcendence into the darkness. And I dig it. Like, I really do, because it wasn't on purpose like the first kill, but then it did turn into a murder. It went from an accident to a murder. And he kind of runs off, but you don't know how he feels about that. And then you get the next scene is him pulling up to Laurie's house, and Laurie looks out the window and he's staring, and like he's standing there in the bush like Michael does, and she sees that. Then he's gone. She goes outside, creeps up behind her, and very Michael-esque. They weren't being subtle about that. I see a lot of people like saying that they don't understand why he was doing that. It's like, dude, he just came face to face with Michael Myers. Michael didn't do anything, you know, and there's a reason for that. There's got to be a reason. You know, I've said that in Halloween Kills, one of my biggest things is you get this dope scene of him killing 11 firefighters with no problem. And in the flashback scene, when he comes out and the cops are surrounding him, he doesn't even make an attempt to just run through them. I mean, he's already been shot. He's already been all this. And he doesn't even make an attempt to run through him. So obviously that was a conscious choice by Michael not to kill these cops. So there's got to be something that is motivating him, or reasons why he's doing the things that he does the way he does it, you know. And I think there's definitely a conscious decision on who he's killing and why when they're in front of him, because there's times that he chooses not to kill people. So at this point, we get a cool scene of, you know, Corey explaining to Allison that he got jumped. He's sorry for running off on the date, but you see Laurie looking at him in a way like she knows. She knows that he's going overboard. She knows that he's kind of losing his shit. So from that point, we get this cool diner scene of Laurie and Corey talking. Oh, sorry, Allison and Corey talking. And they get to the point that Allison's tired of Haddonfield. Corey's tired of Haddonfield. They want to leave, and they want to leave together. They understand each other. They both been through similar things as far as things that changed their life. And we get this cool line, in my opinion. It's a little cheesy, but it's cool that she's saying, "Well, let's burn it to the ground." He says, "I'll light the match." So at that point, you already know where Corey's going. You already know Corey doesn't give a shit no more. And we get this scene that the ex-boyfriend cop, who's a Maloney, I don't remember how you say the last name. Correct me in the comments. But the bullies from Halloween Kills in the flashback scene of 78. And he's related to them. Allison's ex-boyfriend. He's being a dick. He's obviously disrespecting the fact that Corey's sitting there with Allison on a date. I don't know if anyone caught the fact that he's one of the arresting officers that arrests Corey in the beginning. And he starts talking shit to Allison. And that's when we start seeing Corey really get up and defend himself, because he gets in the guy's face. He's looking at him in a way that it's like, what are you going to do? He wants him to do something, because Corey's already killed. So Corey's got that feeling of like, I know what it feels like. It's almost like in 2018 with the same lines of like the doctor wanting to know what makes Michael tick. Corey got it. You know, Corey got it. So now he's got that rush. So he wants to go farther with it. So cut to, takes Allison home, drives off, has the cop follow him to the sewer that Michael's in. The guy kind of like finds the dead bum. Corey fucks with him a little bit, starts laughing, runs in there, basically leads him into the sewers for obvious reasons because Michael's in there. This is another scene that a lot of people were either hate this scene and this is where they're done with the movie, or you're like me that understood where it was coming from and really enjoyed it because, like I said, I'm a huge Michael Myers fan. We've seen Michael go through everything you can possibly go through, but this is probably the most vulnerable you'll ever see Michael. And I feel like in a world that they were trying to make it kind of realistic but still have some supernatural aspects, I kind of get it. Okay, so he flashes the flashlight in the corner and we get this cool shot of Corey kind of like standing in the corner waiting. So Corey at this point knows Michael's gonna get this guy. So sure enough, Michael pops out, starts grabbing him. The guy knocks Michael down. Michael's kind of like hurt and cowering, I guess, and not strong enough to kind of overpower this guy right away. Which, again, a lot of people are complaining, well, this isn't my Michael. Michael can't do that. Mike's invincible, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I get it, but he in Halloween Kills, this dude was like shot multiple times, stabbed in the stomach, stabbed in the back, run over with a car in 2018, shot a couple of times in 2018, and he's 60 something years old. And you don't know if he's supernatural or not. I mean, take Scarface, for instance. Tony was taking clip after clip because he was coked up, and the adrenaline alone was keeping him alive. So maybe the adrenaline from the kills is what's keeping him going, but not necessarily keeping him alive. But we don't know that for sure. I don't know that for sure. That's just my thoughts on it. So then we have, Michael kind of getting beat up and everything, and Corey takes it upon himself to help Michael out. So he grabs Doug, pins him down, tells Michael to do it, show me how to do it, and Michael starts stabbing him and it's kind of like twitching and almost like he's getting a rush from it. And people got to understand, like, think of Michael as a crackhead. If killing is his crack and he hasn't killed in 4 years or hasn't killed in the way he did, this is his, like, he's taking that hit and taking it full force and going full blown, okay, I can do this still. And this guy's helping me for whatever reason. So whatever, he's doing that. And I feel Corey wasn't trying to be Michael. Corey just saw what Michael was for the town that he hated. And he wanted to be, they made him out to be everything they hated and he wasn't. So why not be what they hate? Why not go to the source and become that, since they're telling you that that's what you are? And it was almost like Corey just wanted to see how Michael did it so that he can do his own revenge. I don't think he ever wanted to be Michael Myers. I think he just wanted to understand the hatred that he had for people or why he was doing things, even if it's not the same reasons. Yes, Michael's kind of like going out and just killing anything in his path, but Corey's a little different. I kind of got the sense of like he understood that Michael was like that, but that's not who he was. So after this, Doug's dead. Obviously, gets stabbed like 9 times. Michael's kind of like rejuvenated a little bit, and we get the scene that was in the trailer of Laurie outside of her house because she sees Corey go upstairs with Allison to the bedroom. So she's standing outside, kind of seeing that, and Michael is behind the tree watching her. And she kind of looks over her shoulder and he disappears. So obviously Michael followed Corey to the house. I don't think Michael got on the motorcycle and drove into the sunset with Corey. Like, I think he just followed him out of the thing and was trying to see what was going on, and it led him to Laurie. And now I know in Kills they went on to say that Michael wasn't after Laurie, but I feel like at this point, once Corey puts him in front of her, he starts wanting to go after her after the things and the damage that had been done to his body. Like, I don't know if anyone caught in Halloween Kills, when he kills that couple in the house, he was wrapping his hand in the bathroom. So obviously Michael needs some kind of he needs to take care of himself too. I mean, he can take a lot of shit, but why would they go to the extent of showing him wrapping his hand and treating his wounds if he's invincible? And no one really ever talked about that in any reviews that I've seen. And it's obvious when he comes out and he has a brand new bandage on his hand that he was in the bathroom wrapping his hand. Okay. So, next scene I want to talk about is the scene with the redhead nurse and Dr. Mathis. I think the nurse's name was Deb. She was a fucking just a character to be killed, honestly. But they went on a date, whatever. Obviously she's fucking the doctor. She's getting the promotion that Allison should have got. So we get this really cool scene. She goes to go take a shower and hears a noise. And when she goes outside to investigate it, you see in the distance someone getting killed. Like, you see him getting poked up, someone getting killed. When she switches the light on, it's Corey with the doctor with his head in a bag, killing him with the wine opener, with the scarecrow mask on that Allison gave him. Because she said she was going to get him the mask. So Allison gave him that mask. So, and the mask, I didn't say before, but it kind of resembles the clown mask from the original Halloween and Michael's mask and everything. But that's beside the point. So he's killing Dr. Mathis, and she screams, runs into the house. Corey runs, has like a little temper tantrum, beating up the door and shit. And he stops and he notices Michael's in the closet. So that's when we get the trailer scene that Michael opens the door, she sees him, does the bob kill, pins her up to the wall, stabs her, leaves her there, does the head tilt. My takeaway from this scene was, again, I don't think Michael went with Corey. I don't think he went like, oh, let's go do this together and show you how to do it. I think what happened was Corey wanted to kill the doctor for obvious reasons. He talked to Allison like shit. Everyone Corey kills in this movie, yes, has a motive. It's not Michael. Stop comparing Corey to Michael. It's two different people. You know, like, yes, he wants to be like Michael in the sense that he's killing people, but like, he's not killing for the same reasons. So stop comparing him to, oh, he has motive and it's stupid. It's not stupid, in my opinion. But we get the scene where he starts unwrapping his hand and it's almost like he's feeling everything that Michael's feeling. Or maybe he wants to feel everything that Michael's feeling. They don't say. But clearly he was surprised that Michael popped out. And then he just kind of watched to see what Michael did. So I really feel that was almost like letting him in more, letting that evil in more, because not only are you seeing him make this kill and kill this person, but and you have, you know, some kind of hatred towards him, you're embracing it. And I really feel like David Gordon Green said he was going to touch on some, you know, politics and things that are going on in the world. I really feel that comes down to like people watching videos on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok of kills and murders and all this shit. It comes to a point where you get desensitized to it and it doesn't bother you, and it's almost like you like it. You know, they give you a warning and say, hey, this video is going to show some shit, and you click on it whether you want to see it or not. And every time you do that, you kind of letting some good out to let some bad in. And I really think that was the topic that they were trying to hit with that. Like, Corey was kind of, every time he did something like that, he kind of like was letting go of who he was before to let in what he wants to be now and what everyone made him out to be. And I think that was deep. I did like the way they did it. That was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. There's a couple of kills in there that I kind of wish they showed more. A lot of the kills in this movie is really like flash off screen, and a lot of people are complaining about that. But again, if you're a purist like me, like, dude, I love 1978, love Halloween 2, I also love Halloween 6. But in 78 he had 3 kills. And they were really quick. It wasn't dramatic. and it was all about the emotion in the movie. So for people to sit there and say that this movie was horrible and a disgrace, you really didn't understand the first movie. I mean, yeah, it's not as brutal as Halloween Kills, but Halloween Kills was meant to be just him running through Haddonfield, just obliterating everything in his path. Almost like that was like his last hurrah, and that was it. Just like in the 78 flashback, like he was going to do all this, and then that's it. Disappear, done. Die in the sunset somewhere by himself. Um, but I do feel that Corey was kind of just letting go a little bit more as he watched Michael do what he did. Okay, then we have Corey's home life. Where I know I'm talking a lot about Corey, but honestly, this movie was all about Corey. There wasn't a lot of Laurie, there wasn't a lot of Allison. It was all more their relationships and how what they went through ties into Corey's story. And that's another point on why I'm hearing a lot of negative feedback about this movie. I know everyone wanted to see Michael on one last hurrah. They wanted a slaughter fest with Michael. They wanted a WWE match between him and Laurie. And that's not the case. But they did give us a good movie. I feel like if they would have gave us what you were asking for, it wouldn't have been fulfilling. It wouldn't have gave us closure. It would have just been the same thing we got for 44 years. That's it. It would have been the same exact thing, which is fun, but like I'm happy that they didn't go that route. So Corey's home life, they show you a little bit like when he's working at the junkyard. I didn't know that his boss was his stepdad until they show him at home. And his mom's nuts, man. His mom is straight up Norma Bates, and I don't know if that was like a tribute to Jamie Lee Curtis's mom for being in Psycho, but I felt like that with Karen too. When they killed Karen, it was very similar to the Psycho shower scene. I feel like that was a tribute for Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. But yeah, the mom is straight up Norma Bates or Jason Voorhees' mom, like real crazy, obsessed with her son on an incest level. Like she kisses him on the mouth, but she treats him like shit. Like she just talks down on him, and I don't know if she was like that before or if this is just after everything happened with him and that kid. But she was just really psychologically abusive to this kid, and the stepdad is the complete opposite. It's almost like he sees what he's going through and feels bad for Corey, but there's only so much he can do because he's the stepdad. And I do feel like this is a callback to Rob Zombie's, and I really feel like they just traded places. That that Michael's mom cared about Michael, and the dad was nuts. Even her death scene, because he does kill his mom. Even her death scene is straight up. He walks up on her just like Michael walked up on his stepdad. And that was his first kill. And I think that was the kill one of the first kills. And that was one that really transcended Michael into really being evil in that series. But yeah, we get the kill scene, which is a flash scene with her. And that death I kind of wish they would have emphasized on, because she was a bitch, honestly. And slasher movies are meant for that. Like when you see characters that just annoy the crap out of you, you want to see them get obliterated on screen, which we didn't. But again, 78 vibes, just like everyone wanted. They wanted it the closest thing to 78. You got it. You didn't like it. So at this point, Laurie is really seeing that Corey's changing. She talks to Lindsay actually introduces her to the father of the kid that died, and the father understands Corey and knows that Corey didn't do it. And he says that people take other people's tragedies and turn that into their own to project their own feelings, which is true, man. Like, I don't want to get political on here, but there's so many things going on in the world that is just bullshit. It's just you using that to project your own negativity. And it's fucked up because you're using other people's pain that you don't really care about. And you may say you do, but you don't care about what's going on with them. You're just using it for your own personal gain. But he talks to Corey. He says he pulled up on Corey, and Corey looked at him. They kind of show it, and he was like, "That wasn't Corey. He was on a dark path that he can't turn back on." And Laurie's agreeing. Laurie goes to talk to Corey's mom, has a little nitfit with her, and Corey's mom says something to Laurie to the extent of like, "It's your fault because of your boogeyman," which I kind of agree. I don't think it was Laurie's fault, but like the scenario with Laurie kind of formed the this mob mentality of the town, and that happens. It's going on in the world right now. It's not just one person that we're targeted on, but like there's a bunch of people that we look at just like Michael Myers, like labeling these people as this, and it's messed up. So it's almost like you have to decide which side of the fence you're on, you know. So then we get Corey sleeping in the blood stain of where the kid died, which is bugged out. I said it from the beginning. As soon as they showed the house, like, oh, we're getting a new Myers house. They're really setting up Corey to be the new Myers, and I'm fucking on board. And I'm still on board. And I'll get to why later. But I'm still on board. I'm Team Corey all the way. I fucking loved it. So we get the scene, which is pretty dope, of Corey talking to Laurie in that house. And Laurie's letting him know, I know what's happening. I want to help you, but it's up to you on whether or not you're going to change. And Corey's not with it. At this point, Corey is he's already killed. He's already on the point of like, there's no return. I'm going to do what I want to do. He's set on leaving with Allison. And again, I really believe Corey loved Allison. And I believe that because I think Allison saw the real Corey and vice versa, and they weren't looking at each other for the events that happened. They were looking at each other for the people they were. And because Allison was the only one that showed that she didn't care about what they were saying about him, she fell in love with him. And honestly, 90% of the people that murder people, it's out of like love and the feelings that's going on. There's so many crimes of passion that happen. So to think that this is like some crazy theory that David Gordon Green came up with and Danny McBride was like some bugged out shit. It's like, no, it's actually very real. Like it's very real. I can, I fuck with Corey like as a character. I love where they show how he's transcending into this path and how it starts off slowly and it just after one event happens, it's that's it. There's no coming back. And whatever, we get this cool scene that Laurie kind of dips off on him, and while he's talking and giving his monologue, and I'm pretty sure that's the scene in the trailer that they was like, what are you gonna do when the boogeyman comes back, because he is coming back. And they took that out. I think they took a lot out of the trailers because people like us that are going to dissect everything on YouTube, which I love, but like I love that they took it all out of the movie, but at the same time I know that's all the good nitty gritty shit that's going to be in the director's cut and all the brutal shit. But he still gets a good scene of explaining away some of the stuff that he had, how he's feeling, and how it's really becomes Laurie and Corey fighting over Allison. And he blames Laurie for bringing him into Allison's life, which is true. She brought him to the hospital with full intentions on introducing this broken kid to Allison because she thinks he's so good and she's good for him. And 100% that's what leads into everything that happens in this movie. Everything, which it is what it is. So after that, Corey calls Allison and is like, hey, I gotta talk to you. We gotta leave tonight. You gotta meet me here at 9. And this is another detail that I noticed. I'm gonna talk to say why in a second. But he said, you gotta meet me at 9 p.m. Your grandmother's trying to kill me. We gotta get out of here. So he's already setting up for a time to be out. Like dip off into the sunset with Allison and live happily ever after. That was Corey's intent. He was gonna do what he was gonna do and dip out, and that's it. So we get that scene, and that's where he runs off into the sewers. And this is where, again, a lot of people did not like this scene. I thought it was fucking awesome. Corey runs into the sewers to get the mask from Michael. Now, he didn't have to get the overalls or anything. No one has to explain that. He's a fucking mechanic. That's his work uniform. So he runs into the sewer and he tells Michael, you have something I need. I need the mask. And he's wrestling with Michael. And you get this really cool scene that he's wrestling back and forth with Michael. And people are like, well, how the hell would he overpower him? The evil that is inside Corey is overpowering the evil that's left in Michael. It's almost like, in my eyes, I don't know I don't know Danny McBride or David Gordon Green. If you guys see this shit, or anybody who knows anything, please drop it in the comments. But in my opinion, it was the battle of where the evil's gonna go. It's almost like that moment when once Corey gets the mask, it's over. That mask symbolizes like Lindsay says, a nail in the coffin of like, that's it. That's evil. Almost like Season of the Witch, where the masks are everything. But get the scene, throws him on the floor, pulls the mask off, and tells him, "You're just a man in a Halloween mask." Now that is similar to what Laurie tells him later on about he's a man about to stop breathing. So we get this sense of like, even though Michael's able to do all this evil, crazy shit, he's still a man. He can still be defeated. I feel like that's what Corey was getting. Like, you're still a man, I can defeat you. Like, he's the new. Imagine Corey is starting to feel now. Corey's also the same age as Michael in 78. So you got someone who has the same rage built up, almost more than what Michael was feeling. Just that same rage fighting against what's left of something. So I think that's where it was Corey transcending Michael and becoming what he was going to become, which of course is he's about to kill some people. All right, so after that, we get one of the best scenes of the movie, hands down, and that is the junkyard scene. And I'm going to explain why I love Corey's kill scenes as Michael so much, and why I appreciate it as a fan. I appreciate it as someone who just likes movies. I do like writing. I do like writing comics. I like creativeness and things that have a purpose. So we get the scene, junkyard scene, leaves the bullies there, cars cycle into the dude's car, which I thought was gangsta as hell, because he taunts him. He's not like Michael that's going to be like, "Oh, I'm drifting in the shadows." He's going to taunt you almost like Freddy Krueger, to the point where you're just going to be stupid and go along with it. So we get the scene. He kills one of the bullies with a drumstick, which I thought was cool. We get this crazy scene with the stepdad, which was one of my favorite characters. It was horrible to see him go. But right before then, when you finally see who's doing what's going on, we get the scene of Corey standing there with the mask in his hand. And he hasn't put the mask on yet. He has it in his hand. And the bully goes to shoot Corey, and the stepdad jumps up and gets shot in the head, which is crazy. And then as the body drops, Corey's gone. So at that point, he put the mask on. And I feel that once Corey put that mask on, he fully transcends into the evil and into the darkness, where he gets that strength to do the things that Michael does, like take bullets, like get beat up and stabbed and all this stuff and not die. I'll get into that in a second too. So we get this crazy. He kills everybody off screen except for the girl that gets run over with the car, which was pretty crazy. But right before that, when we get to the main bully, he blowtorches his mouth. So in my eyes, I feel like Corey's a little different than Michael. Corey's gonna be a little bit more like Ghostface. Like, he's gonna deliberately do certain things because what were you doing? You were talking shit. You were talking a lot of shit. So he blowtorched your mouth. Like, I mean, that gets more personal than any kill I've seen in Halloween, except for the next one that I'm gonna talk about, which is the Willie the Kid kill. So you got Corey just tearing these kids up, and then you get the scene with the one girl that honestly wasn't trying to fuck with Corey. And again, this is, I don't know if anyone else caught this. That was a callback to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And in the scene where they're in the cornfield and the girl's saying, "Leave him alone. That's enough. You beat him up enough. Let's go." And she gets it the worst. Why? Because she's the reason why they're there. I mean, this girl just got it because guilty by association. You're running around with this dude. That's your boyfriend or whatever, your homie, and guilty by association. No witnesses. And he stomps her head like the Dr. Sautain kill. Head explodes and runs her over with the car and drives off. Which, my take from that, and the reason why I feel that mask made a difference, is because if you go back to the Dr. Mathis Deb kill, he was having a hard time banging on the door. Like, he was banging on the door with the scarecrow mask on, couldn't get to the girl, and was getting frustrated that he couldn't get in there until he saw Michael. This dude just stomped someone's skull and it exploded. Like, you can't tell me you couldn't break the glass and walk through, like how Michael did in Halloween 2, just walk through the glass. I mean, it take a good amount of force to crack someone's skull to the point that it explodes. I've never done it, but, common sense. But we get that. It was a cool scene. Kind of, they did that already, but it was cool to see because it's kind of like seeing it. Michael did that. Corey didn't. Showing that Corey has that strength. So the next kill is probably the best kill in the movie. You previously got a scene at the radio tower of Corey explaining, which I don't know why, but I was getting Crow vibes from that. I don't know if it was the rings that Allison has on, and the way they're talking, their relationship, the music. But I was getting the Crow vibes from that, which is another one of my favorite movies of all time. Rest in peace, Brandon Lee. But get this cool scene. He jumps off the roof and like gets up like Michael does, the whole 90-degree angle get up, which to me is another thing to show you that like he's becoming Michael. Like, he's maybe not becoming Michael, but like becoming just like Michael, that he knows he's testing his limits on how far he can push his body. Because I skate, I can take a certain amount of abuse that I may, in my mind, I'm not feeling the pain, but like the damage is still being done, but I'm still able to get up and keep skating. And that's where I look at the parts of like, oh, Michael should have been able to take this and Corey should have been able to take. The mind is a powerful thing. So like, if you convince yourself that you can't feel pain and you can convince yourself that you can get over it, you can. It doesn't mean it's not doing damage. Like, just because Michael was taking bullets and taking stab wounds and taking all this shit doesn't mean it wasn't doing physical damage to his body. Even if the spirit in him is what's keeping him going, that body is still getting beat up. So it's almost, think of it as like a demon. Like, it's just going to possess someone else to the point, once that body's gone, it's just going to move on to someone else. Someone else is going to do some fucked up shit. Okay, so after Corey gets up and does the Michael 90-degree get up that everyone loves seeing, I thought that was done very well, by the way. I forgot, I think it's Rowan Campbell. Just want to say that he did a fucking amazing job playing Corey. Like, he took someone who was a diehard Michael fan and did a movie that had this kid Corey in it, and Michael was in it for 10 minutes, and I still loved it. But he did a really good job, does a 90-degree get up. Allison's kind of like freaked out that he jumped off the roof, like, no, don't do it. So like, even that's kind of like, whoa, like, how did you do that? So she comes down, Willie the Kid comes out, which is the radio host. And again, great character. Like, he was a dick, but he was a really cool character. I think he was played well. I don't know who played him. Sorry. But I do feel that, like, I've met and know so many guys like this guy. And he thinks he's hot shit or whatever, and talking shit to Corey, talking shit to Allison, get the fuck off my property, like, fuck you up, and all that. So, sorry again. So he talks all this shit, which you already know. Corey's already offing people, bro. Like, he's basically making his kill list at this point. So let's cut to where, after the junkyard scene, Corey goes to the radio station. And this is one of the dopest scenes, even though, again, they showed it in the trailer. So we knew this was going to happen, but we didn't know it was going to happen to this extent, because it gets personal. So whatever, Corey goes in, dresses Michael, and kills the lady at the front desk, goes into the into the actual DJ booth, starts smashing Willie the Kid's face up to the point that his jaw's hanging off, and he's really fucked up, which again is showing the strength he now has that he didn't have before. He couldn't break a glass door. Like, he couldn't do this until he put that mask on. So it's something with the mask. All 3 movies in this trilogy emphasize on that mask. They didn't say it, but I'm fully convinced that that is where all the power comes from. That is what, it's almost like Rob Zombie's, that when he puts the mask on, he becomes something else, even if it's just mental. So smashing his face up, and then we get the best part of it. He pulls his head back, takes a scissor and cuts his tongue off because he was talking shit. So that was personal. Puts it on the thing, skipping on the needle. Awesome scene. Allison hears it over the radio. Is like, what the fuck? And that's that. Goes on, kills his mom off screen, which that honestly, I think the mom thing got me the most. Probably one of my biggest disappointments in this movie. And I don't mean to be like a gore fanatic, but like, you should have gave us that kill. That kill we should have gave us because she was so fucked up to Corey. And it's probably the actual root of all of this. We should have got that kill. And I know you filmed it. I know it's going to be in the director's cut. We all saw it in the trailer. We saw him stab through the pillow and the feathers go all over the place. We saw the scene where she's all slashed up and shit. We should have got that scene. But it's okay. I don't feel, after Halloween Kills, I really don't feel like they had to show that. But they should have. And maybe explained a little bit how the chick from Kills survived, that's in the wheelchair with that she should have been dead. I'm sorry. That there's no way of surviving that as a human being. But whatever. It's a movie. I'm not going to get hung up on realism. So that's where it leads to the last thing Corey has to do is get Laurie. And this is where I feel people felt it was rushed as far as Corey's kills and all the killing that happened. But if you look at it from the point of view of Corey told Allison to meet me at this time, Corey's plan, and this is from someone who's really observant, like I really look at things. I'm also a big Scream fan, which I felt there was a lot of Scream in here other than Christine and all that, and Psycho, and I think there was in Halloween 3. I really feel there was a little bit of Scream in there from Corey's character, almost like a Billy Sidney relationship. So I really feel Corey's plan was to do all these kills quickly, dress up as Michael so that if anyone did see him, they would think it was Michael because he knows Michael's alive. He knows Michael's going to go back to Laurie and do whatever. I don't think Corey even gave a shit what Michael was going to do after that. I think he just wanted to kill these people because of how they treated him, how they treated Allison, and the connection to Allison. He was in love with Allison. He wants her for himself. So he was going to do all this, dip off with Allison, and the next morning when everyone finds out they're dead, who are they going to blame for it? They're going to blame Michael. They're not going to ever think Corey did it. I really think that's why they did it fast. I don't think it was meant to be rushed or for bad script writing. I think it was just to show how fast this stuff was happening. The same way in 2018, we get the best scene of Michael, that one shot of him going house to house to house to house killing. That was Corey's one shot. They could have did it just showing him drive place to place, but like, who wants to see that? That's like Lay said, you don't want to see Jaws swimming through the water. So that was his one shot. Just get in, kill everybody, get the fuck out, make it seem like it was Michael, happily ever after, me and Allison, and that's it. Doesn't work out that way. So Corey comes, we get the scene of Laurie in the room with the gun. She's gonna kill herself, calls into suicide. That another scene that I kind of was like on the fence with. I didn't like that they showed in the trailer that she was gonna shoot him, so the whole suicide attempt thing was kind of pointless. I did think the shooting the pumpkin was cool to kind of like catch Corey off guard, but like, how the hell did you know Corey was coming? Like, I don't think that was thought out completely. I think that was a rewrite, which again, I'm cool with it. So we get the scene, she shoots Corey twice, point blank range, doesn't even get a chance to attack her, falls off the stairs. She goes downstairs, takes off the mask, talking shit to him. You came here to kill me, now kill me, this and that. She fires off the 2 rounds that were left in the gun, which in my eyes, I understand she wanted a fair fight with Corey because she's fucked Michael up. So she knows she's fucking Corey up. Like, she knows she has the upper hand, but she kind of gave her the advantage of the gun's gone. So now it's a fair fight. Whatever. This is another scene that was like, people were pissed, and it shocked the shit out of me, but I don't think it was pointless. So they're arguing, they're about to fight. He hears Allison pulling up outside, says if I can't have her, nobody can, and stabs himself in the neck with the fucking knife, which was crazy. And Allison comes in at the moment that she's pulling the knife out of his neck to see what the hell is going on, loses her shit, blames Laurie, runs out. We get Laurie on the floor crying, looking at the empty gun. Corey is laying on the floor, and then we get the scene in the trailer that Michael picks up the mask, puts on the mask, picks up the knife. So we already know where that's going. Now, this is where I'm personally divided. Obviously, I like the Corey character. As a Michael fan, I did not mind that he wasn't in the movie because I understand where they were trying to make Michael stand in this movie. But I kind of wish you didn't kill Corey or show it the way you did. So we get this struggle with Mike and Corey, and again, like Michael grabs his head, and also Corey should be dead. Corey just took 2 to the shoulder at point blank range, fell half a story, then stabbed himself in the throat with a butcher knife that clearly is long enough to go out the other end. Anyone else in this franchise would have been toasted immediately. You would have bled out. You've been laying on the floor for a good amount of time. He's now struggling with Michael. So it shows that I really feel like he was going down the route of he wasn't going to die. Like, yeah, he was injured and shit, but he wasn't going to die, whether he knew it or not, because who has the strength to do that? So you get this whole tussle with Michael. He snaps his neck, and apparently that's the end of Corey. And we get this cool shot of Michael walking down the hallway, which is shot beautifully. Like, I'm a visual person, and everything in this movie was dope as far as like visuals. So then we get the final battle that everyone was waiting for. And again, they amped this up to be this crazy fight between Laurie and Michael. And I knew going into this that we weren't going to get that because we got that in 2018. Now, if they would have gave us a 2018 fight and the ending in the same movie, I would have been okay with no fucking sequels. But I like that we got the sequels. So we get the fight between Laurie. It's really cool. A lot of callbacks from 78 with the knitting needle and all that shit. And she gets fucked up with the knitting needle. I thought that was it. I really thought that they were going to kill Laurie, honestly. And I almost feel like they should have. But you get the fight with them. She pins him down, gets back up, pins him down again, and to the point that she's basically crucifying him on this fucking table, drops the refrigerator on his legs. And it, to me, that was 100% H2O callback, which I was digging it because it was done 10,000 times better. I didn't like that scene in H2O up until the point when she chopped off his head. That was cool. But she pins him to the table. She gives the monologue. You're a man that's about to stop. I thought you were a monster, but you're a man that's about to stop breathing, which was dope. I didn't feel like it was over the top for this movie, but compared to hearing "Evil dies tonight" and I have to kill it every 10 seconds in Halloween Kills, I was cool with that. I mean, it's a horror movie. Cheesiness is okay. So she slits his throat. Get a really cool scene of him gushing out and stabs him in the chest, like really fucks him up. And then he rips his hand out where he split from here to here, and the hand's just like hanging there, which is really cool. And somehow can still choke her with a split hand, which that part was like, okay, how the fuck is your hand even still working? And what are you grabbing her with? But like, he's choking her out. I thought it was gonna be, I take you out, you take me out. That would have been cool. I would have been on board for that. And it's not what happens. Allison walks in, snaps Michael's arm, and we get the scene where she slits Michael's wrist, and he starts bleeding out. Now, I feel people were looking for this big dramatic kill. I liked the intimate wrist slicing because she holds his hand as he drifts off. It's very similar to when she goes to reach out for his hand in H2O, and when she kisses him and all that shit in Resurrection. But like, I almost feel like it was like she knew she won, but it's almost like it was so much of her life that was revolving around Michael that knowing it's over for her, it was almost her holding on to what her whole life has been and just watching that slip away and finally come to an end. I love the cinematography on that. The feeling on that. Jamie Lee Curtis killed it. She always kills it. And whatever, he bleeds out on the table. Hawkins comes in, what happened, sees Michael, she says he's dead, and Allison says a cool line, which I think was supposed to be like her Karen moment, where she said, not dead enough, which, fuck yeah, like, make sure that fucker is dead. Everyone complained in Halloween Kills that no one made sure he was dead. They make sure he's fucking dead in this movie. Like, and hats off to Allison for, like, being smart enough to be like, yeah, let's kind of like make sure he's dead. I mean, it would have been cool to just see her not dead enough and chop his fucking head off. That would have been cool. But like, I already knew they were doing the meat grinder thing from the opening scene of the movie when they show the meat grinder. It's like, oh yeah, they're gonna throw him in there. Guaranteed, he's getting thrown in there. So they carry out the body. No one says shit about Corey's dead body on the floor, that he's dressed up like Michael, none of that. But then again, Corey's always has that jumpsuit on, so I don't think, if you didn't see, because the mask wasn't next to him, the knife wasn't there. So I'm pretty sure they assumed Michael killed Corey. And maybe he just had the suit on because he was at work. So that makes sense to me. So whatever, they carry the body out, tie him to the car. We get the sheriff come. They're like, oh, this is how we do things like it is tonight. And a lot of people didn't like that. So I think that was good, because in the last movie, he was not on board for the mob mentality. He was not digging what was going on and how people were treating it. But it comes to a point that it's like, if you want it to end, sometimes you got to do things you don't want to do to get the job done. And I think that's what it was. And as the sheriff, it's almost like, I'll turn my head for this because it needs to be done. It needs to die, like they say in the movie. It needs to die. And I'm happy they did not say it in the movie, but like, I feel like that would have been the moment. It would have been like, it works this way tonight because it needs to die. I fuck with that. So we get this crazy scene that's like Michael's funeral, basically. And this whole caravan of the whole town, like, carrying Michael's body and shit and dropping in the meat grinder, which is an awesome scene. I kind of wish they would have dragged it out a little bit just for the dramatics. Maybe show it in slow motion, zoom in, show Laurie's face, zoom in on Michael's head exploding and all that shit. But like, I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was gonna grab her on the way down. I thought they were gonna push Michael's body, and he was gonna do what he always does, have that last hurrah and grab Laurie and drag Laurie into the meat grinder, so that not only do we get closure from Michael, but there's no way Laurie's coming back either, because it would have been, that's it, she's finished. But, you know, I'm also happy they didn't do that because I like the ending. So, whatever, we see Michael's head explode and get crushed up, so that's it. Michael's gone. There's no body to come back to. Doesn't mean that evil's gone, because evil doesn't die. But, like, there's no body for them to come back from Michael. Michael's toasted. And the first thing I noticed too is she didn't throw the mask in there. Like, the first time I saw the movie, I didn't see, at the ending you get this cool shot of every room, like it's very reminiscent of 78, that shows all the rooms that they were in, and you see Michael's mask on the table where her memoir stuff is. I didn't catch that the first time I saw the movie. The second time I did, and my son caught it too. And I think there's a reason for that. In my own opinion, I think that's a way for, if they want to continue this, well, someone just needs that fucking mask, and Laurie has it, so it's not like it was destroyed. And if the evil lives in that mask, it's almost like you think you killed it, but it's still there because it's in that item. It's almost like an amulet that is just absorbing all that evil from all those years. And every Halloween movie is all about the fucking mask, including Season of the Witch. So I think that was where they were going with that. And you get this cool scene between Hawkins and her, that they were, you know, finally gonna have that chance to have that relationship. So you see the scene with the rooms, see Allison driving out of Haddonfield, shows the rooms, and cut, end of the movie. Now, I was satisfied with the ending. Like I said, I kind of wish they didn't show Corey get his neck snapped and just left it, because I think it would have been really cool if Hawkins came in and there's no Corey. Like, oh, Corey's dead, he did all this shit. And like, okay, where is he? And Corey just disappears. Like, that would have been fucking awesome. Like, it's 78 or some shit. Like, that scene of like, oh, fuck. But then you're so caught up on Michael that it's like, you don't even worry about that. Like, oh, we'll deal with that after. You know, and then that would leave it open. Like, the mask is there. You got Corey missing, all this shit. He can always come back. But they didn't do that yet. But yeah. So that being said, you get the credit roll. with Don't Fear the Reaper, which is another great song, another callback to Rob Zombie because that song was playing for his first kill in Halloween. Well, when he kills Judith. Um, but yeah, I personally, my thoughts on the movie, I really enjoyed it both times. I understand what made people upset, but I also think that you gotta respect the directors for doing something different. You gotta respect them for, like, I almost feel people are like, oh, they spit on the franchise. That, I think spitting on the franchise would be doing the same fucking thing like every other franchise does. Like, look at the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Beautifully shot, dope scenes, horrible fucking Freddy. Like, it was just trash when it came to Freddy. Everything else was cool. But when you take that out, if you replace him, it would have been the same movie. And I don't think that would have been as enjoyable. I liked that it was different. I liked that it showed a different side and it was going a different route because, like, I grew up on these movies, and I have my oldest son loves these movies too. But I'm telling you, in 10 years, when he's closer to my age and they do decide to do another Halloween, he's not going to want to see the same fucking movie he just saw his whole childhood growing up, then saw them do 3 different versions of remakes and 5 timelines, and then do the same thing again. It's kind of like, it gets really repetitive and I feel like it doesn't do the character justice. I think it's cool to have that we have Michael in different universes, that even though there's really dramatic differences between those like Cult of Thorn and the whole Jamie Lloyd thing, and the different timelines for H2O and Resurrection, which again I enjoyed Resurrection. It was cheesy and stupid, but it's fun. But I just like that Michael can exist in all these different worlds and still be Michael, and it's the one time we got to see a weak Michael and show that maybe he could take only so much abuse before he has to pass that evil on. And maybe when he was fighting with Corey, it wasn't that he just, maybe he felt that Corey wasn't ready to continue doing the things that he was doing, or he was mad because he took the mask. So he pissed off Michael. That's the one thing you don't do, is take Michael's mask. And he pissed him off. So whatever. He came back, snapped his fucking neck. Like, there's only so much that he's gonna be your buddy. And but I like that. I like the different direction. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I want to watch the trilogy in its entirety back to back and really get a feel for it. I do think that 4-year time jump kind of like messed with it a little bit, but it's understandable. Like, characters look a little different after a couple of years when COVID hit and everything, and ideas change, and things happened in the world that during that time that are a key factor in this movie. And that's another thing people need to understand, is that when you're writing a movie, like, yeah, you had an original idea, time passes, shit happens in the world, you need to make it relevant. I feel like the time jump was to make it relevant to the world that we live in now, so that people can associate that evil in Haddonfield with the evil that's going on in the world right now. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on that is just people being really, really fucked up in the head and really self-centered and selfish. And I really think that's the idea they were going for. But all in all, I thought the trilogy was amazing. It has its ups, it has its downs. I was satisfied with it. I was actually more satisfied with ends than I was with kills. I enjoyed kills a lot, but I really didn't like the writing as far as the dialogue. But I can understand. I mean, I'm a fan of slashers in general, so you don't see it for the dialogue, but the fact that they made this movie and it was very character driven, like Stephen King said, and dialogue driven, and you had feeling and emotion behind it, I can really appreciate that as a fan. I can appreciate that as a creative, and my hat comes off for David Gordon Green for having the balls to do it, and Danny McBride for having the balls to do it. Respect. And I really hope you take this a little further. I would love to see Corey come back. I have my own ideas on that. That they wouldn't even have to change anything. I mean, if he's really that evil, then guess what? Have him fucking pop up at the morgue and walk the fuck out and looking for Allison. He can go kill Laurie, get the mask, bang, there you go. But I mean, it leaves it open, and I think they want that to happen. I think they want to leave it in someone else's hands to see where it goes. And I respect David Gordon Green for bringing this franchise back, and I really feel like the anthology feeling in this movie was a hat off to John Carpenter too, because John Carpenter never wanted Michael to go past that first movie. And I love Halloween 2. I watched it last night along with Season of the Witch, and I love that they brought him back, but I can understand where, imagine if we had a different Halloween movie every year with a different killer, but still kind of the same vibe and still have it somewhat connected. Maybe it's in Haddonfield. Maybe the town is cursed. Maybe it's not in Haddonfield and it's just showing the different aspects of how different people go into that darkness. But I can always appreciate it. Probably gonna rewatch the movie again today just to get a third watch in, and then leave it alone for a little bit. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to where they go with this. I mean, there's so many different avenues now with the internet and everything. It's not like back in the day that it has to be a theatrical release or anything. I mean, anyone who's read the Halloween comics, they're fucking awesome. It gives you a little insight on Michael's origins with Thorn and all that. I actually thought they were gonna bring some Thorn stuff in, but I'm kind of happy they didn't now that I saw the movie. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I love Halloween. You know, I got my 78 mask right here. Um, I always I watch Halloween all year round. Anyone who knows me knows I love Michael Myers, and I love other horror movies as well. I'm a big slasher fan. This was my first movie discussion because I waited for the movie to come out to do this. I do want to do more of these. If you do want to see more movie discussions, please like and subscribe and hit the notification button. Let me know in the comments what movies you want to see me talk about. Scream 6 is right around the corner. I'm pumped for that. Friday the 13th, there's rumors about that coming out. David Gordon Green talked about The Exorcist coming out next year, which is another crazy ass movie that I can't wait to fucking see. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the ride. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see this one in the theaters for certain reasons, but like I really enjoyed watching it with my family. And you know, my wife knows how much of a diehard fan I am, and you know, she likes it too, but not to my extent. My son is just like me, and you know, it was a good experience, and I enjoyed it a lot. I'm happy they brought the franchise back. It gives you a little nostalgia from your childhood and these times that shit's fucked up in the world, man. Like life is crazy, and sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need a little bit of the aggression, like maybe seeing other people do certain things, it keeps you level-headed and see how bad things could really go, and gives you a little perspective, and I respect that from horror creators and horror fans, and understanding that, and I really hope to see more. I mean, again, much respect to Danny McBride, David Gordon Green. um, I really love what you did. I respect you a lot for it, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. And again, if you liked it, hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you would like to see. Let me know in the comments what you agree, don't disagree, agree, disagree with. I'm open to debate. I'm not one of those fans that's gonna, oh my god, I don't like you because you didn't agree with me. Like I love the debate, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. So if you wanna give your opinions in the comments, please do so, and let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you think. Other than that, have a good day. I hope you guys enjoy your day. I hope you enjoyed the movie. That's it.